Hi guys, welcome back to the Casual Watch Review channel. We have got a crazy watch to review today. I would say it's probably one of the craziest in recent years that I've reviewed, but I did review another watch from Atowak, and that was the Cobra. This is their brand new watch called the Spaceship, and I would say it's a far more refined version than the previous Cobra that we've reviewed. They really seem to have gone into their stride here, and it's being released on October the 24th. They've sent me an early prototype of this, and I have to say it is a very impressive watch. Not the type of watch that I would typically wear, but it is amazing to see the quality that is coming out of this watch brand at the moment, and to see the evolution from the Cobra watch to this Spaceship watch. Quite impressive, I have to say. If this watch isn't your style, I would definitely stick with the review because it's worth seeing just the engineering that has gone into this. So let's flip the camera around and dive into the review. Before we start, I am going to have to use gloves because the fingerprints on this DLC case are driving me crazy. Otherwise, you're going to be looking at a very greasy looking watch throughout this review. I would say this is one of the craziest watches that I've reviewed this year, but I have reviewed one of their earlier Wandering Hour watches, and that was the Cobra. I think this Spaceship watch in every way is a more refined version of that Cobra, and I'll go over some of the reasons why I think that during this review. This is the Atowak Spaceship, and this one is the Mars Red. Comes in this very fetching red, white and black color scheme. It has a beautiful red rubber strap that comes on it. Rubber strap is amazing. Honestly, it feels so comfortable on the wrist. The Cobra came with an additional metal bracelet as well, and I thought this watch had an additional metal bracelet from the extra box that came in the packaging, but in fact this is an additional black rubber strap with a very nice deployant clasp as well. So they haven't made you take the deployant off the red strap and put it on the black strap. They have included two deployant. As with the Cobra, this comes with that interesting strap change where you have a release on the back to remove the strap. This isn't a traditional spring bar style strap. This has a special mechanism to remove the strap. You can remove the strap very easily and replace it with the black one. I'm wondering if you could add the metal bracelet, the black metal bracelet from the Cobra. That would be interesting to find out. The watch surprisingly wears very comfortably on the wrist. The case is a 53mm from lug to lug with a 42mm from the largest part of the case. Fits my 7.2-inch wrist quite nicely. Also, the way the strap hangs over the side of the wrist, it doesn't protrude out like perhaps a G-Shock would, and it's only 16mm thick. It is tall on the wrist at 16mm. It's not as tall as the Cobra was, and the weight with the strap is only 148 grams. So for such an interesting looking watch, it is very wearable. I'm not sure if you would wear this day to day, and you certainly wouldn't fit it under the cuff of a shirt, but it isn't form over function, this watch. It is wearable. The case is a lot more refined than the Cobra is. I think there's a lot of additional tooling that's gone into here, but one of the highlights for me is this scratch resistant sapphire crystal. The way it's machined to have two separate surfaces looks awesome in person. Atowak say they have added anti-reflective coating on it, but the different finishes on the sapphire crystal means that it is a very reflective surface. I have struggled to capture the B-roll of this watch just because how reflective the sapphire is. In person, you can still read the time. It's just because I've got studio lights on here, and when you're outside, you've got light bouncing off it. So it is quite reflective. I'm not sure where the anti-reflective coating has been applied. It has a 30-meter water resistance. Even though we have this fantastic Wandering Hour complication, the watch is not using an in-house movement. They have adapted a MIYOTA 9039 movement with a 38-hour power reserve. I'm still impressed the fact that they've done this on this type of watch, and I was impressed when I saw it on the Cobra as well. They call the hand a 360 Revolving Hour Wheel. I'm going to call it a Wandering Hour. That might not be exactly what it is here, because the discs with the time, they revolve instead of flipping over like we saw on the Cobra. Unlike the Cobra, we do have an indication of the seconds on this watch, although I'm not quite sure it is an indication of seconds. It is a wheel that shows that the watch is moving, has a circle that rotates to show you that the watch is currently working. It's not. The time is set by this crown at the top, where you push it up to set the time. This can be a little bit tricky. There is a learning curve to this. You have to push the crown up and then move it to the appropriate time, but slightly push up as well. I've had a couple of times where I've been pushing it and the crown has pushed itself back in, but once you get the trick with it, I didn't make that mistake again. Even though the time might look like it's quite complicated to read, it's very easy. Here you can see it set to the current time. To set it to any other time, you simply move the numbers around, and the minute track, the speedometer style minute track at the bottom, is how you can tell the minutes, and then of course the disc has the hour hand. And it's very interesting to watch as the discs spin round to show the time. They snap back round. It's a very visually interesting watch to look at. The watch from the images on their website looks like it has an impressive lume shot, and it is impressive, except it does seem to be varying levels of the way that the lume is applied, and it is harder to see on the hour numbers where they've used the ready lume. I'm not sure if they've not quite perfected how to do the red of the lume yet, but as you can see from here, everything other than the red lume is glowing quite brightly. For the price, these are coming in at $1,899, although I think there is a special offer on this at the moment. This watch is releasing on the 24th, and they are doing a coupon promotion at this, but even at its $1,899, yeah, for sure it's using a MIYOTA movement, an affordable luxury movement. I would say the 9039s, I really like those movements. I prefer them over the equivalent Seiko movements, to be quite honest. But to get a watch with this look, you would be spending tens of thousands of dollars instead of less than $2,000. So I think overall they've done an excellent job of this. The presentation box, again, is as spectacular as the Cobra was, a wooden box with a black lacquer on it. This might not be to my personal taste. Certainly I don't wear these type of highly complicated watches, but I'm still highly impressed by it. The Atowak name, I had a couple of comments to say that it was a bit weird that it was called Atowak, and I agree, to be honest, but that's the name of it. It's not as prominent on the dial. We do have it etched on one of the side facets here. The DLC coating is done to a high standard. It's done over a brushed case, which adds a lot of visual appeal to the watch. And we have a transparent case back with a Atowak signed rotor. The MIYOTA movements are also very, very reliable, and most watchmakers can work on them, although I would say that they might be a little bit intimidated when you first show them the watch, but once you show them that it is a MIYOTA in there, they'll probably be a little bit more comfortable with working on it. Atowak do offer a very generous 2-year warranty as well. I think this watch is a lot of fun, but I always like to hear your feedback, so let me know in the comments section down below, or why don't you give your opinion live on one of the live streams that we do. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification. I'm getting very close to 50,000 subs now. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time on Casual Watch Reviews.